This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, before proceeding further, I have a question actually. Yesterday, someone asked me, like, what happens if we switch that on error propagate and non error continue, right? Okay. Now I have that question. Can someone clarify me that? What happens exactly? Someone asked in the session, I don't remember the name. Now, see, if someone can answer that question, please tell me. See, is the question clear?
Can you repeat question, Miles?
Yeah, yesterday someone asked me like I have shown like on error continue in the child flow, and then I continued with the on error propagate in the parent flow. But someone asked me, what if we switch on error continue to the parent flow and on error continue to the on error propagate to the switch that exactly, right? If we switch that particular on error propagate and continue, what happens exactly? Someone asked me, I told to research and get back.
That on error continue, the success will return where you are calling HTTP request. That's right. Even though first, if we have a main process as a on error continue, there is a sub process there. We have a propagate. Then on error continue there itself. You get error, it will return as a success. Then it stops. That's correct. I'm not sure.
See, here I wanted to tell something. You have enthusiasm in asking the questions, okay? But did you practice that? You should, right? See, whoever it is not for the someone who asked me that exactly. But the question is, you wanted the easy answer. That's the reason. Never expect the easy answers, okay? Go back and practice it. See what happens exactly. It will take 5 to 10 minutes of time. Just drag drop the flow and do it. Okay, fine. Now see, at least I'll ask tomorrow. Please answer me the same question. Yeah, I think Raja, you answered it, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure
Yeah,
it's
can you
correct.
please repeat the answer? Can you please repeat the answer?
Even I'm not did any research, just I'm answering according to
Okay,
whatever I
okay.
attend the
Do
recent
do
training.
that
If
properly.
your
Do a
concept
do
is
a
first,
POC.
first.
Okay, do a POC
Okay,
properly, and then tomorrow answer me. Okay.
okay.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Yeah.
I will discuss that. Thank you.
Okay. Today, see, mm, the agenda will be like for today we'll see like yesterday we have seen what is agile methodology and what is sprint and all those things exactly. Fine. Today what we'll try to do, we'll try to uh, uh, create a Jira, and we'll see what is Jira. We'll create a Jira account and we'll create a project there, and we'll add some members over there and create a sprint and create a story also. Okay. See, uh, create Jira account, create project, adding members, all this, even creating sprint, creating story, all these will be part of a scrum master job, or some other people will do, team lead or someone. Okay. Only thing is like managing story is as a developer job exactly. See, already story is created. What you need to do, you need to manage the story. What is the management of story? How many hours you take for that particular story, and in uh, what is the progress every day. Okay. And then changing the status from one status to another. For example, like you started the job, I told you like in progress, and after that maybe if there are more number of steps, you will follow those number of steps and all exactly. Okay. See, that way most probably as a developer, what is the main job in Jira? Managing the story in Jira. Okay. Yeah. Okay. For that reason, see, but all these will be, I'll be covering them very faster. Okay. I'll not take much time there. I'll do it faster. This is one thing. And the second part is what we'll try to do, we'll try to start the designing part exactly. But before starting the designing part, what will happen, we have to see what is the API led architecture we followed, and then what are the APIs in it, and then we'll see which API to start first. And for that API, we'll see the request response structure, error response structures, okay, and even the headers, okay. We'll see all those exactly. If time permits, we'll start the designing. Otherwise, we'll start from tomorrow. Okay. Now we'll see, at least for transaction API, we'll see what are the layers we followed. Okay, and how many APIs are there, and then what is the request, what is the response, what are the headers, what is the policies we are going to apply on that particular API and all. We'll try to discuss all those exactly, and then if time permits, we'll start the designing also. Now what happens? We are actually getting into the project today. Okay, now you will understand the how do you place your request, what are the policies applied on those APIs exactly, and we are following API led architecture, and we'll start with transaction management exactly. Later on we'll go to the loyalty management, because the transaction management is having the priority, right? Without completing that, your loyalty points will not be making sense. Only when you spend money with the help of your transaction, then only the loyalty management will start exactly. Okay, for that reason we'll be starting the transaction management part. Is that clear? Now we'll see what is Jira. We know, right? Jira is a very powerful project management tool and even issue tracking tool also. See, a lot of times for managing the issues means, see, if there are any issues while the product is on production, right? At that point of time also, Jira will be the proper tool. They will raise the issues, and then that the issues will be allocated to the respective team members, and then they will track the status and all exactly. Okay, for that reason, we'll be utilizing Jira. And it is a powerful project management tool also. What is project management? Yesterday we have discussed, right? How to plan it, how to execute it, everything exactly. And Jira will help us to have this what to say Scrum and as well as Kanban dashboard kind of facilities exactly. But we'll follow Scrum for us exactly. Okay, and obviously we know it is developed by Atlassian, and it is designed to help teams plan, track, and manage their work efficiently. If it is an issue or if it is a project related task, anything, it will be efficiently tracked exactly. Fine. Now, core functionality of Jira. Two things, right? I told you, issue tracking as well as the project management. See, for us, what are we doing right now? Project management. Okay, issue tracking means that is a different thing, but it is utilized for issue tracking also. Okay, right? Is that clear? Issue tracking means, see, we have tasks, bugs, and other issues throughout the development or project lifecycle exactly. But for project management, we are using, see, planning, task management, and progress monitoring, and what is left out, what is still pending, what is completed. All those tasks will be managed. See, obviously, as part of our Jira, what it will try to give, it will try to give you already workflows exactly. Okay, issue is started or the story is started, and story will be completed, and there will be a journey from start to end, right? Exactly. Okay, that is known as workflow. Okay, it has different phases, and for example, to do, in progress, completed. These are the workflow status, right? But if you wanted to increase the number of stages in the workflow, you can increase it. It depends on the project management or the scrum master. He will try to create different phases exactly. That is what the workflow is, and it can be customizable. That's what exactly you mean to say. We'll see that also, like how to customize your workflow there basically, at least. And collaboration, obviously that team will be communicated properly, and everyone can collaborate with each other and then progress with the project efficiently exactly. And boards, what are the boards available exactly? Like we have Scrum and Kanban boards. Okay, but as part of our today's session, what we'll try to do, we'll create a Scrum board exactly. Okay, we'll create a Scrum board, we'll create a story there, and then we'll assign the task, and then we'll proceed. Okay, fine. Now, and see, as part of this particular process, what happens, even dashboards can be created. Why dashboards can be created? You can monitor the progress exactly within that dashboard itself. Dashboard is nothing but you can see the high level picture of the entire project exactly. Okay, there itself. Who will be taking care of all these things exactly? Most probably like the Scrum Master. Okay, no, I just told, right, only one task for us. What is that? managing the story in the Jira. Okay, that is our part exactly. Rest of the things will be taken care by the Scrum Master. Okay, that is the reason you don't require to be a master in Jira. For example, like if the organization is using another project management tool, you can tell, see, I have worked on Jira, but I don't have any experience in this particular project management tool. And at least you can take 5 to 10 minutes time and you can explore and all. And if there is some confusion, you can ask your other colleagues also. Okay, fine. Now, see, one more thing, Jira and Confluence also. Jira and Confluence belong to the same organization. Because of that reason, already they have the tight integration capability. Because Confluence can be integrated with Jira and Jira can be integrated with Confluence. That is fine. But these tools, right, with Bitbucket, GitHub, okay, other tools also, development tools, for example, like other development tools also, they have very good integration capability, because of which it would be easier for the task management also. That is another feature. Okay, fine. Now what we'll try to do, we'll try to create a Jira account and then we'll start the process. See, creating Jira account and all, normally it will not be part of our job at all. Already everything will be available. Just see, once your email ID is created, right, in the company, almost all the accesses, exactly what happens is you need to know, like sometimes it will be done default. Otherwise, if it is not done default, what happens is you need to raise the tickets. What is the raising the ticket? We have again some tools like Jira or ServiceNow. You'll go there, you'll try to raise the tickets. Give me Bitbucket access, give me GitHub access, give me Jira access. This way you need to raise the tickets, and then it will be assigned to some other person who takes care of the giving the accesses and all. He will give the access exactly. Okay, most probably you need to create tickets and then get the access to. Okay, so once you get the access, you are directly you will be able to access your tasks, stories and all. You are not going to create the project, everything. Okay, but for anyway, I have to create and show, right? Because of that reason, obviously I need to create an account and then show it exactly. Okay, at least you will be aware like what is happening and what is there. See, along with Jira itself, I can create Confluence and Jira Service Management also, but I don't want to select them. I'll directly proceed with Jira. Okay, I want to proceed with Google. Normally our account, work email account will be there, you can proceed with that, but I don't want to go with that because we don't have any account right now. What we'll try to do, I'll use my, okay, I'll give, I need to give the site name also. I'm just telling the agree button. Okay, randomly you can select exactly, otherwise we skip them also. Okay, see, it is asking to select the template for your first project exactly. Okay, and there are Kanban, Scrum and business exactly. See, I just wanted to select Scrum. Okay, See, if I'm very familiar, then that pop-up options will not come. Otherwise, it will guide you exactly like do this, and all exactly. For that reason, you can do it as I'm not a frequent user. And then it will guide you the entire process there exactly. Okay, that also. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, fine. Now, if you see, there are certain aspects here exactly, or certain modules here: your work, projects, filters, dashboards, and teams. And see, most probably, only thing is like uh, whenever a task is assigned, a story is assigned for you, you will get an email. If you click on an email, it will directly take you to the user story generally. Okay, most of the time we'll do that exactly. Otherwise, if you come down, you can see your work and assign to me. Okay, here also you log into Jira and then go to your work and assign to me. Then what happens exactly? You can see the tasks assigned to you. Okay, you can pick the task and then you can start working on it. And recent, whatever the recent things you have visited, right, within Jira, that will be available. And boards, what are the boards available, those boards will be available for you. Okay, now see, dashboards, again, it is not a required feature for us exactly. Okay, this is again, if you create a dashboard, you will be having the access to that particular dashboard and all. And I told you, right, dashboard is nothing but the whole complete picture of the project, like what is happening and what is completed, at what stage the tasks are there. All this will be easily visible exactly. And teams, I told you, right, I can invite people here. Okay, if I invite people, what happens? With the help of their email ID, they will receive an email and then they can accept. If they don't have the Jira account, they'll create and then they will be able to access our project exactly. Okay, that is one thing. And if they don't have, if they already have Jira account, automatically they'll be able to log in and see the project which is assigned to them. Okay, fine. And we can create a team also similar to Confluence exactly. And the plans and apps, I told you, right, we can integrate with different apps, and those apps will be available here. And then with the help of those apps, you will be able to work. Okay, now see, do I have any works assigned here? No, exactly. Okay, and I have created this account. What happens? I will have the administrator access. As a developer, you will not have the administrator access to your Jira account. You'll be having some member access or something, and you'll be limited to do certain activities only. Okay, not the all activities. Now, what I'll try to do, I'll create a project. Okay, go to project, create project. I'll select software development and again Scrum. Okay. See, first we created one project that is it doesn't ask for any name or anything exactly. Okay. I just wanted to create another project for our convenience to start our work basically. Okay. Now use template. See, I wanted to use the company managed one. So not the team managed one. I need to select this exactly. Okay. I'll give the project name here. Okay. See, there will be a key exactly that is automatically generated. See, it took TLM as the key exactly. And then see, I told the board I selected as Scrum and company managed exactly. The type is template I have selected as Scrum and the type is, if I want to change, I can change it here. Okay. Okay. You see, now if you see, this is the board. Okay, I told you, right, board dashboard kind of thing. Here I can see if the tasks are available, what are the tasks available in to do, what are the tasks available in progress, what are the tasks available in done. I can see all these things here exactly. Okay, see, that is again the job of Scrum Master. He will take care of the things, right? See, whether your task is completed or not is your job. Okay, it is not other people's job, other people's tasks also you will not be monitoring unless you are a team lead or a manager exactly. Okay, fine. Now I'll go to backlog. See, what is backlog exactly? I told you, right, we have two backlogs. One is sprint backlog, one is product backlog. Again, who will create the product backlog? Product backlog will be created by the product owner. And a sprint backlog is nothing but list of user stories committed for that particular sprint with the who will be committing, the developers and the testers and the technical team, exactly. With the we'll establish the conversation with the product owner, and then we'll try to tell, okay, we'll be able to do this many number of stories for this particular sprint, and we will pick up the stories from product backlog, okay, and then put it in sprint, exactly. See, if there are no stories created in product backlog, directly they can create stories and then they can assign it to sprints also. Okay, fine. Now if you observe, I want to create a sprint, exactly. Okay, first now I'll click on create sprint. Okay, already one sprint is there, two sprints have been created, exactly. What is the name? TLM sprint 1. Okay, you can name it whatever you want, exactly. Now I wanted to add dates and all, right? See, I have clicked on sprint 1 and I wanted to change the dates, exactly. Or see, I told you 1 to 4 weeks is the ideal time frame for a sprint, exactly. Okay, at least for integration projects, right? I have seen more than 2 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks is the ideal sprint period, because I already told you, as an integration platform you need to integrate with different systems, exactly, or applications. As part of the job, obviously there will be a delay from other teams also. Okay, when you're interacting with the other team members and then getting the things and all, exactly, there will be a delay. Because of that reason, ideally for the projects which start from the basic kind of thing, right? Basic means like the scratch, exactly. What happens is 2 to 3 weeks will be the ideal time frame. For that reason, what I'll try to do, I'll try to pick up 2 weeks, exactly. Okay, now, and I want to keep it as sprint 1 only. Okay, see, for example, you have around 50 APIs. Okay, 50 APIs, and in each sprint we'll be able to deliver around 5 to 6 APIs, for example. Okay, then that 5 to 6 APIs, what to say, the stories can be assigned to this particular sprint, exactly. Okay, fine. Now what is it? See, I wanted to keep the duration custom, exactly. I can otherwise 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that is also available, but still I'll try to keep the custom and then select the date. Okay, select the date as today. Generally it will start from Monday, right? Monday to this week and next Friday, generally, for example, like, okay, Monday, and end date will be this week completed, and 16th will be your sprint goal. You can write the sprint goal. In this sprint, this is the goal for us. For example, like, we have to deliver these 4 APIs or 5 APIs or 10 APIs, and with proper testing and all, we'll be writing the goal here, exactly. Now okay, fine, we have updated it. The same way we can do it for sprint 2 also. We are not worried about sprint 2 at this point of time. We wanted to create the sprint 1 and we have created it, exactly. Now see, there is another create button here. I can see what is this create. If I click on this, okay, can you see this new story? Okay, because I have selected story, I can create task, story, bug, epic and all, exactly. Okay, here I use the story. Now what is the status to be assigned first? To do. Okay, what are the statuses available? To do, in progress and done. Okay, to do means now it should be assigned to someone, right? It will be in the to do list. I'll go through that. Once it is assigned to me, what I will try to do, I'll go through that particular story and I'll see, okay, everything is available, and then you can put it in progress, exactly. Now once it is completed, you will change the status to done. See, that is what workflow I was telling, right? Here, if I wanted to increase the number of stages, can I do that? Obviously, as a scrum master, I'll be able to do that. For example, like, I wanted to put it in very clear manner. For example, as it is related to API 1, design completed, okay, then implementation completed or development completed, okay, unit testing completed or QA completed. This way I wanted to increase the number of phases also, or the stages also. And see, it is up to the scrum master to decide the stages here, but you will have the access to those stages here. And for example, like, we have a step called design completed. As soon as you finish your raml or the API specification, what you'll try to do, you'll try to put it as design completed. Okay, that way you need to progress with your stages, exactly. Okay, fine. Now it is a story, and we'll have the summary. Summary means 4 to 5 lines of summary. They will write like, okay, create maybe system API or a transaction API, whatever it is exactly. Okay, transaction system API, and then they will write, okay, for example, like for our convenience, create transaction system API. Okay, I have done this exactly, and then I can give the description also. See, this is summary, and you will have some detailed description. Okay, that is again I am not doing that. And who is the reporter? I am the reporter right now because I am the administrator. The scrum master or the team lead will be the reporter, you to whom you need to report for that particular task exactly. Okay, now fixed versions, all these not are available. Label is for easy searching exactly. If you have any files related to this particular project or particular API, we can attach this here. Generally you will be having the documents. Okay, generally you will be having documents. Those documents we need to upload it here exactly. Okay, now assigning, I need to assign this task to someone, right? I will be selecting it here. Okay, I can do it now or later also. See, because at this point of time I am the only project member, I'll be having, I can create the task as well as I can create the story to me also. Now I wanted to create assign to me exactly. So I'm not going to add user and all, and again I don't want to extend the time and all. Okay, if you wanted to explore that option, you please explore. Okay, fine, because already we have seen that in Confluence and all, right? Because of that reason. Okay, now to which sprint it should be allocated? I need to one. See, already if you have user stories in product backlog, there also you can select, and you can select the sprint, and then you can move the user stories to sprint exactly. Okay, now already I have created the sprint and I have the access to sprint one, right? I'm allocating this particular user story to sprint one. This way 4 to 5 stories will be created, and then it will be assigned to the respective team members, and then it will be given the sprint one exactly. Now the respective team members will work, and then as the work progresses they will change the statuses, and then they will try to keep updating the scrum master or the team lead. Okay, and for example, sometimes what happens is there will be blockers, right? For doing this, there is some, for example, like one example I'll take. I want to do experience API, but I wanted process API and system API to be ready, right? For that. Okay, now there is a link for these two, right? That way also you can link if there are any blocks and all exactly. Okay, most probably they will not try to do, but still you can do it if you want it. Okay, fine. Okay, now once user story has been created and it is assigned to sprint one, can you see the sprint one? And sorry, if you want to move to, for example, like sometimes what happens, you are not able to complete this user story in sprint one, you wanted to move to sprint two, right? At that point, after our retrospective meeting, what we'll try to do, okay, it is not happening because of the other team members, it is not able to progress, and then if you wanted to change it also to, we can move it to sprint two. Who will do that? Again, maybe the scrum master, or you will be doing it. Okay, fine. Now see, I told sprint one, and task is assigned to me, right? I told where to look for the task. Go to your work and then assign to me. See, work is assigned to me, right? I can see my task. I'll click on my task now. Okay, as I'm doing it for first time, it is showing every time start to exactly. Okay, you can dismiss that and you can proceed. Now, if you see, and I haven't given the priority, but I can select the priority also. Priority means like what is the level of urgency for that particular work, and what is the level of priority, highest, medium, and lowest exactly. Okay, that while creating the task itself or user story itself, we can assign the priority also. Now, if you observe, everything is available, right? The labels are not there. Okay, fine. Now, if I click on more fields here, if I click on more fields, I'll be seeing story points, original estimate, and time tracking. These three are important for us exactly as a developer. Okay, what is that? Story points. Yesterday, what we discussed, like the time estimation, right? And the other way also, what is the other way? Sometimes like as a project for a medium difficult task, they will give certain points. Okay. For a complex task, they will be assigning some points exactly. Okay. Based on that, they'll be assigning the story points. See, story points are the measurement for any scrum master or the team lead or the project manager, how much work you have done in a particular sprint exactly. Okay. For example, if there is a simple task or a complex task, I have taken around 5 days, but some other person might have taken 3 days itself exactly. See, he can complete most story points, right? Because in that particular sprint itself, based on that, obviously they will measure the performance of the employee. Okay, fine. Now based on the complexity, they'll be assigning the story points. Okay, for example, like we told it as medium, right? It depends on the organization, they'll be deciding it exactly, like what is the number of points on top. Okay, I'm giving just 5 here. And this is a system API, right? I wanted to deliver it in maybe around 20 hours. I want to take it 20 hours for completing this task. It is the developer's job, how much time you'll be able to complete. You need to fill this exactly. See how to fill this. This is the format. If you are taking weeks of time, weeks, days and hours and minutes. For example, if I give directly 50, it will be taking minutes exactly. Okay, I wanted to give it as, for example, 24 hours H. If I click on this button, it is taking automatically 3 days. Okay, why? Every day it is considering 8 hours as the your time schedule, and then because of that reason it is taking 3 days. Now within 3 days I need to complete that exactly. Okay, okay, fine. You told like the total estimation for this particular activity is 3 days. That's fine. But what is the progress every day? First day what you have done, second day what you have done, and all exactly, right? For that reason we have a the time tracking. If you click on this, the total time taken for completing this task will be 3 days, right? 24 hours. Now first day I have spent, and then I'm updating the task or the story exactly. What I have done, I have done maybe design part of it for first day, and then what you can do, you can tell like I have spent 8 hours on this task. See, sometimes what happens, you are assigned to multiple stories and you are working on one story and other story for some time also. You can tell that exactly, like here for that particular day 4 hours you can allocate it here, and 4 hours for the other story also. Okay, now by the end of the day, I think like for that particular, for fourth, actually today it is starting, right? But today I have worked on 8 hours for this. How I should give 8h. If I don't give 8h, right, it will take 8 minutes exactly. Okay, that's the reason you have to give 8 hours exactly. Or for example, like you, minutes exactly. Now if I want to take 2 days also, I can give it exactly. Okay, the remaining time, what is the time? One day only. Now if I put it as 8 hours, 2 days, because it is measuring 8 hours as a 1 day. Okay, fine. Now see, this way you need to mention, and you can write the description also here. I have completed the design part. Okay, designing grammar, designing API specification completed. Okay, that day. Now see here, 1 day log, now 2 days remaining. Okay, that way you can try to update your user story. Okay, see, most probably you go to your issues, you see your user stories, and then you need to change the statuses of this is one thing. And I already told you, right? See, this should be moved to in progress, right? That is a part we have to do. Now it will be in progress, and then you have completed 1 day of task exactly. Okay, most probably you people will be doing this particular activity, maybe whatever is the project management, it is Jira or it is some other tool also. Okay, fine, right? Now is that clear exactly? See here, if you see, I have shown, I can see the board, right? To do, in progress, done. Still, our story is not here. What is the reason? Because we haven't started the sprint, right? Exactly. Okay, if you click on that particular start button there, okay, in the sprint, it will be, yeah, start sprint. Okay, now see in progress. One user story exactly. Okay, now the Scrum Master will be able to see, for example, like sprint planning meeting is there. He discussed everyone, and then he has given to do a status for 5 developers exactly. Now the next day at least he can see like who has started and who hasn't started, right? Okay, if it is in to do status, it will be here. Okay, and it is in progress. I changed it to in progress, right? That is the reason I can see it here. Now done. If someone is completed, it will be in here. For example, like if I wanted to change the statuses, right? This workflow statuses. Now I have only 3. If I wanted to increase it to 4 or someone, exactly I can do that. Where I can do, I think project settings, workflows. Okay, and second somewhere it will be. Okay, anyway, you understood, right? Like another workflow, their status also will be, whenever you click on the drop down, you will see that status also. Okay, for example, like I want not only to do, in progress and done. I want to see some more statuses also. The Scrum Master will create the using this UI, and then that also will be available there. Exactly. I forgot the option somewhere. Okay, fine. Why do again waste our time there? We also. Okay, fine. Is that clear? Any questions so far? Okay, then if there are no questions, we'll proceed to the other section exactly. Now already see we are aware of the project, right? What is the project? Transaction and loyalty management. Now what I wanted to do, see, I wanted to work on the transaction management first. Already we know the reason why we wanted to work on the transaction management, right? Already because without transaction management, the loyalty management will not make any sense exactly. Because of that reason, we need to start the work on transaction management. See here at the high level, I told Mule API, transaction API. But if you see the transaction API itself will have, again, we need to follow the API-led architecture for following the microservices, and that transaction API will be again divided into 3 layers, right? Process API, system API, and experience API. Okay. Here in this picture, it is showing only the high level picture exactly. When I go to the next level, it is showing for transaction we have 2 experience APIs. The reason being, obviously we have 2 experience systems. What are those 2 experience systems? Mobile and web experience, and then the transaction PAPI, and then the transaction system API exactly. Okay, now see, as part of, now I wanted to start the API. What I'll try to do, I will start from the end system exactly, system API. I'll not start from the experience API, because the reason being, obviously it is, if you system API is ready, right? Exactly, it would be very easier for you to complete the other APIs also. For example, like what happens sometimes, this process API is already existing, you wanted to add a resource to that. Okay, sometimes there is a possibility also, system API is already available, some system API already in the organization, you want to add a resource to that particular API. But here, what are we trying to do? We are assuming that we don't have any APIs at this point of time. We are building the APIs from scratch. Okay, and sometimes there may be a we can exclude the process layer also directly from experience to system API and all, but it is always suggestible to go for experience, process, and system API. And at later point of time in the future, if you require some other again process API for some other purpose, at least transaction management, at least this process API can be utilized, so you can add the resources there. Okay, you understood, right? As a good practice, obviously 20 resources are suggestible for one API. 20 resources. See, normally you see slash that kind of thing, right? More than 20 they will not suggest. If it is increasing, right, then what we'll try to do, we'll try to again create another API and then do it. See, it will not work or like that, but it will work exactly. But it is suggestible to follow the best practice. Okay. Now, see, as part of that particular our activity, what we'll try to do, we'll try to start the development with system API. First, to start the development, we need to design the RAML, right, or design the API specification. To design the API specification, you need to understand what is the exact structure, what is the requirement and all, right? Okay, how your things look like and all, exactly. Okay, for that reason, is this clear? Okay, now we'll go to the okay, we'll go to functional specification document, and then we'll see what is functional specification document. It will have some details about the project. Actually, this is the FSD for, see, some people will call it a functional document. Okay, whatever it is exactly, you are receiving one document. As soon as you receive the document, whether you have the details or not, that is the thing. Which, if someone uses the terminology functional specification document or functional document or functional design document, whatever it is exactly, right, whether you have the required details or not, in that, if there are no required details, again you need to communicate with the proper people. This document, where it will be available? In Jira, or you will be receiving it on email, or any documentation management tool like Confluence, exactly. See, most probably, most of the people are lazy, they don't maintain that. Actually, immediately they will keep it in SharePoint or somewhere, and they'll share the link to you, exactly, most of the time. Someone was asking SharePoint kind of thing, right? What they will try to do, they will create one common folder over there, and from there also they may share it to you, exactly. But that is not the right practice to do it. But still, people do that, exactly, in the organization. Everyone will not follow the same structure unless the team lead or the architect or the project lead is very strict. They will not follow the right practices. But here, anyway, you receive the document at any cost, and you are going to go through that particular document right now. Okay. What that document will consist of, generally these are the details: author name, date of assignment, date of submission. Who will be doing this document? Most of the time, architect. Sometimes for some enhancements and all, again, developer also, we need to do that. See, again, no need to do it from scratch. Already you'll be having some other document. You'll just copy that, paste it, and then you'll start filling the details in that particular document. Always, if someone asks you to do something, some prepare some document and all, you can ask for a template. Whether, do you have any template? Can you please provide me the template or provide me the sample? I will try to follow the same structure, exactly. If they say, if there is no template, or if you need to do it from scratch, then what you need to do, you need to download some sample template from our internet, or if you don't have any knowledge, then you can see that, and then you can start doing your activity, exactly. Okay, fine. Now, see here, what happens is, in the, if you see here, name, description, version, comments and all, this will go, it will not be prepared one time itself, exactly. There will be so many versions and so many to and fro conversations will be happening there. uh, their names, their descriptions, what are the changes, what are the comments, the dates, everything will be available. Okay, and every time there is a change in the documentation, they'll be changing the version also. Okay, why? Obviously, they need to maintain that versioning, right? Okay, this is the latest version, and because of that reason, you need to follow this particular document. See, latest version is 1.3, and you are following 1.2, and your required things are in 1.3. And if you are following 1.2, what happens exactly? You'll not get your requirements, and or you may get the wrong requirements, and you'll be doing a task in a wrong manner, basically. Okay, for that reason, you need to always ask, like, what is the latest version of the document. Okay, and then get it very, see, you need to validate with your team lead or the respective team members, and then start your work. Now I have validated it, and it is very clear, this is the latest document for me, and then I'll start the documentation. I'll go through the documentation first, exactly. What is the functional requirement? Okay, facilitate a, see, I have given a very simple thing here. Okay, normally in the projects and all, they give very detailed description which will not be understood, honestly speaking. You'll not be, you will have a lengthy documentation, and if you read that also, you feel like sleeping, and you will not understand that document also, generally. Okay, but what happens is, you will have that discussions and all, right, like with your team lead and all. At that point of time, you will be participating in the discussions and all, you will understand some part of the requirement. At that point of time, at least you are aware what is required for the task, and then you come to the documentation. What happens, you already have some background of the task or the user story, and then if you come to your documentation right now, at least you'll be it will be easy to understand exactly. Directly if you go to the documentation, right, one time if you read it, you will never understand. Okay, but the important job is like, if you don't understand, at least try to communicate with the other team members or the team lead, and you see, you should read once and then you should not go. Okay, you need to go through that 2 3 times. See, there are very very small minor points which will be very very helpful. For that reason, it is always a good practice to go through the document in detail, and simultaneously prepare your questions. Okay, whatever the questions you have, and then get it clarified, and then start your work exactly. Okay, fine. What is that exactly? Business scenario: facilitate a seamless transaction management. Wantedly I wrote this kind of sentence exactly. See, to be honest, what is the thing? There will be a transaction from the credit card transaction from the front end. Okay, mobile app or web application. Okay, that will be updated in the Salesforce system. This is the requirement. But what is it written? Facilitate a seamless transaction management process by allowing users to initiate transactions using their credit cards. Okay, seamlessly. If you see all these words, obviously a little bit you will be worried, what is this exactly? But the same thing in little bit different terminology exactly. Okay, and this integration ensures immediate and accurate updates in the Salesforce end system. It is simple: update the Salesforce system. Okay, but this integration ensures immediate and accurate. This business analyst or the architects, right, they will write in sophisticated languages exactly. Some people will be writing it in a very easy to understandable manner. If there are some very good English guys and all, what they'll try to do, they'll show their English skills there exactly. Okay, because of that reason, obviously it would be little difficult, but it is your job to go through it and then understand it. Okay, and then optimizing data synchronization and enhancing overall efficiency. Okay, simple, nothing. What is the requirement? A transaction will be created with the help of a credit card that should be updated in the Salesforce system. That's it. And you follow the API-led architecture, and you'll have 3 APIs. This is the requirement. Already the same discussion might have happened in the team meeting. Okay, you understood something. Okay, chalo, ye sab chhod do yaar, leave this exactly, and then go ahead, and you will see వెళ్ళిపోతాం అని చెప్తాం అనమాట. ఎందుకంటే the reason being is like, first of all you should understand it in the team meetings. If there are any questions also, you should get it clarified, and then only you have to come here. It will be easier for you. Wantedly I have written this exactly. I can write this in a very different manner also, very simpler manner. See, okay, you didn't understand this here in the business scenario. Immediately we'll have flow diagram and sequence diagram. Okay, at least there also, at least you'll be understand what is flow diagram. What is the flow for achieving this particular business scenario? For achieving this business scenario, what is the flow? That particular uh, explanation will be with the help of flow diagram. Okay, fine. Now if you see, what is the flow diagram? The request will be coming to transaction API, okay, and then transaction experience API, transaction process API, transaction system API, and what is the end system? Salesforce. Now we understood, right? Some request is coming. See, irrespective of what it is exactly, some request is coming. Okay, you need to traverse that through transaction API, experience API, process API, system API, and then update the Salesforce system exactly. Okay, this is the requirement. You understood right now? See, you don't understand the each and every word of that particular requirement, don't break your heads exactly. Okay, what you should do, come down, read the entire document twice or thrice, then you will understand it very easily. Now this is a sequence diagram. Now what happens? Transaction experience API, process API, system API. Request is coming and it is passing to process API, and then it is coming to system API. System API is responding with the response. The process API will be responding with the response, and then the response will be given to consumer in the required format. Is this clear? Now at least we understood, right? Okay. Now, so these are the API details exactly. Now what is the API exactly? We have three APIs, right? System API, process API, and experience API. Now I wanted to see what is system API exactly, and system API related details. Okay, fine. I hope we'll take a break now and then we'll start. Okay, fine, right? Anyway, now if I start it now, it will take some. For one API, we'll see in detail exactly. Okay, the process API and experience API, already you know what are the things you need to look for, right? In system API. That way, system API will take more time, and process API and experience API will take a little bit of less time. If I start now, again, it will be a break kind of thing. That's the reason we'll take a break right now, and then we'll start within 15 minutes. It's 11, right? We'll connect at 11:15. Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Any questions exactly till now? Okay, fine. Now I told like we'll discuss the API details, right? Now, see, what are we developing exactly? REST API, right? Okay. If it is a REST API, what are all the things which are applicable for it? What are the things which are applicable for it? Obviously, we need to see the version, the method, okay, resource. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Any other thing? Headers, query params, URI params, all these also need to be aware, right? See, whenever you wanted to design a REST API, what are all the things required for us exactly? Okay. Hmm? First will come one by one. Okay. Method, method. Which method? Right. Next, resource. See, in Postman I am coming. In Postman, method will be there. Immediately URL will be there. URL, as part of URL, resource will be there, right? Okay, we'll type resource. Okay, then request means see, will come one by one. Then headers will be there. Headers. Then if there is any authorization, can we include that? See, it can be part of headers also, but I'm just classifying it as a different one exactly because we need to specify that also. Okay, authorization. Then query params. See, there may be query params or may not be, but you should know that there will be query params, right? There is nothing, that's fine. And URI params. Then body. Okay, as part of body, what is the body type also we should know, right? Content type. Exactly. Okay, fine. Next. Is there any other thing? I think we covered everything, right? Okay, fine. Now I'll go back to see whenever you're developing the API, you need all these things, right? Okay, so you're going to start your API specification. Okay, if you're starting your API specification, if you don't have the resource path or method, okay, and the headers, authorization of URI parameters, query parameters, or body, exactly, obviously you will not be able to proceed further. Okay, this is one thing. And what are the other things I require for designing the RAML? Success response, error response, yes or no? See, whenever you are configuring your RAML, Exactly. Even the success response and error response also are part of that API specification, right? Okay, one thing. Okay, that is clear. See, now whether whenever I am trying to start development for API specification, I need to check whether all these details are available in the document or not. Yes or no? That is the reason I discussed we need all these details. Now I'll go back to document and I'll see. Okay, and see, I have mentioned version also here. Exactly. What is the meaning of version? Like obviously we know, right? Version 1.0, 1.01, like this exactly. Sometimes what happens is you wanted to manage different versions of an API. 1.0.0 should be running and 1.0.1 also should be running. At that point of time, now you will exactly make a copy and then utilize that 1.0.1 for temporary purpose, for example. And once that particular requirement is clear or it is completed, what you'll try to, you'll deprecate or delete that particular 1.0 and you'll be using one. That's why it is always a best practice to maintain 1.0.0. See, for system API, I'll detailedly go one by one. Okay, like why version, why resource, and why members and transactions. I'll discuss each and everything in detail exactly. For process and experience API, you correlate the things exactly. Okay. Now, see, version it is clear, right? I came to resource. What is a resource? We have to give some path over there, right? Exactly. I have given members and transactions. Why not member transaction? Members and transactions. It is always a best practice to give them in plural form. Your resource as plural form. There is a guideline thing which is called as API governance. Exactly. As part of API governance, there will be some guidelines. I told you, right? 20 endpoints or 20 resources should not be crossing in a API. Exactly. That way you have certain rules and regulations. You cannot call it as rule or something. If you follow that, it is a best practice. Exactly. Okay. It is not. If you give member and transaction, it will not work. It will work. But there are certain guidelines which are specified. If you follow them, it will be good. Because of that reason, obviously, it should be always in plural form. And that's why we followed a members and transactions. Now, here, if you observe, what are the things exactly? This is one parent resource and this is child resource exactly. Why parent resource and child resource will be there? Why not directly one resource itself? See, whenever I have some other things in member, for example, I have now transactions. Tomorrow, I have some other resource. Now, as part of member, it's one members itself. I can create another resource also, right? Okay, that way, it will be useful. Okay. If there is no such kind of requirement, what we'll try to do? We'll try to create direct transactions itself. Exactly. Okay. Fine. Now, and method. What is the method? Post. Why we have selected post here? Create what exactly? Create a transaction in Salesforce system. That is the reason I'm not selecting get, I'm selecting post. Why not put? Huh? It will create the resource also, right? See, full update or create. Why not? Exactly. See, are you going to update your transaction? Credit card, I have done something. Every time it comes as a new transaction only. Okay, because of that reason I'm using post only. You wanted to always create a transaction. Okay, there may be sometimes conflict and all. At that point of time, you need to select the right method. Okay, that is fine. Now you are always creating a very clear, you are always creating a transaction. That is the reason post is selected here. Okay, whenever you have different kind of requirements, see, if I wanted to get the details, I'll use get method. But here, is that clear why we have used post method? See, there is a lot of understanding which need to be carried out. Otherwise, right, you'll be always in confusion. You don't understand. See, why post exactly? Now we understood, right? It's very clear. Now, what is the objective of this particular API? I told this API will create a transaction in the SFDC CRM system. Okay. You can add some extra details also. Okay, fine. Now, and we'll come to request. What are the components of request? We have headers, authorization, query params, URI params, all these things exactly. Okay. Now I'll see the headers. What are defined in the headers exactly? If you see, there are certain things we have decided. See, who will decide all these? The architect, business team, and the client will decide. They while discussing the requirements and all, they have decided and they have given to us exactly. Okay, if there is any confusion, if you feel something is wrong here, at least you can raise it exactly. But most of the time, it is properly discussed and passed on to the developer for development. Okay. Now, see, I have seen transaction ID, channel, language, market, client ID, client secret. Okay, these are.
I'll wait for some time. Uh,
Yeah, hi guys. There is a network fluctuation. Please wait for 1 2 minutes exactly, and then we'll start.
మీరు ఆన్ చేసుకొని మ్యూట్లో పెట్టుకోండి ఎలాగో స్క్రీన్
Yeah, we shall start. Yeah. Now, see, I told there are some headers, right? Obviously, as part of headers, there are certain parameters defined here. What are those exactly? The transaction ID, channel, origin language, origin market, client ID, and client secret. Exactly. Okay. Now, see, if you observe this transaction ID, this transaction ID is very, very important. Okay, and we have seen the description of that particular field name, and then whether it is mandatory or not, and it is what is the type of data type of that particular property exactly. Now
Sir, I
see,
think you are not sharing.
Okay, just it's sharing only.
But we can't able to see.
No, we are not able to see
Everyone,
your screen.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
I'll reshare that. One second. Please confirm once it is visible. Available
Yeah,
now?
now we can see. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for asking. Now, yeah. See, we'll see the headers, right? Headers, field name is there, description, mandatory, type. Okay, now, what is the field name? First part is transaction ID. Why is this required? Any idea? Why is transaction ID required? Why is transaction ID required? Okay, see, what happens is whenever, see, what is API-led architecture? For API-led architecture, how many APIs are there? Three APIs at least. Okay. Now, if you wanted to trace the journey of your transaction, see, transaction means any request. It's not about, now we are talking about transaction management. Don't confuse with that transaction exactly. Okay. Now, at any point of time, what happens exactly? You will receive a transaction or a request to your APIs, and then you will be passing the responses to the API. Now, I have seen a header as a transaction ID. What is the purpose of this transaction ID? And we made it as mandatory. And the data type is string. String means everyone knows it, right? Exactly. Like, see, transaction ID is a unique ID. What is that? Unique ID, which is helpful to trace the entire journey of a transaction. This is very, very important. And if I'm in the panel, I'll surely ask this question for sure. Okay. The reason being, how do you trace your request or how do you trace your transaction? I'll ask this question. Okay. Now what happens? You have a transaction ID and you made it mandatory in your API specification. Now what happens? The source system, the front end system, they have to send one ID for you, right? For each and every request that should be unique. Okay, for each and every id, for each and every request it should be unique id. Now we receive the transaction id. Okay, this is the request. Along with the request we have transaction id also. Now our API is there, experience API. This is process API. This is system API. See, you know that this is only one transaction, but it will be traveling through, propagating through three APIs. How do you identify the connection between these three APIs for that particular transaction? There should be some common ID, right? Okay. For that reason, this request transaction ID will be passed on to experience API. The same transaction ID will be passed on to PAPI along with the request process API, and the same transaction ID will be sent to system API. Now it would be very easy for you to check the logs with the help of this ID. What is the meaning of trace the entire journey of transaction? If something goes wrong, you need to check it, right? Exactly. Okay, for that reason it is very, very important to have the transaction id. Transaction id is nothing but it is a unique id with every transaction, which will be helpful to trace the journey of the transaction from experience to system. Okay, even sometimes what happens exactly, he has sent, right? We are sending him the response also. Okay, and even we'll pass the same thing in the error response also, whenever there is an error or whenever there is a success response, he'll be knowing for this transaction, this is the response, right? Yes or no? See, I have sent one first transaction. One is the transaction ID for it. I sent in the response also. This is the response for first transaction ID. He knows it, right? Exactly. Okay. That way, it would be very, very helpful to trace the journey of your transaction. Then you may get a doubt. There is a correlation ID. Why do you want it? Did you get that doubt? Okay. Already we have correlation ID in the APIs, right? Okay. See, normally what happens is correlation ID will be helpful within the API. See, even correlation ID also can be used as a tracing. How you need to pass the same correlation ID to again process API, system API. But normally it will not come from the front end team, right? Okay, that is the reason we are separately giving a ID transaction ID and we are making it mandatory. For example, business team or the architect team told no, transaction ID should be optional, it should not be mandatory. What happens as soon as it comes to the experience API? In experience API, we will generate one transaction ID with the help of UUID function. There is a function called UUID. What is that? Unique ID function. We'll try to generate unique ID every time. Okay, as soon as the transaction enters the experience API. Okay, see for example, like what is the scenario now? Transaction ID optional. If optional means if the client sends, that is okay. If the client doesn't send it, how to trace the journey? It would be difficult, right? Okay, there are certain instances you need to keep it as optional. Okay, for that reason, what is the alternative for it? You will try to, as soon as you receive the request, before API kit router itself, you will create a variable transaction ID. Okay, and with the help of UUID, you will create it. You will keep it in default. Okay, if you receive it from the client, take that. Otherwise, you generate a new one. Is that clear? Now you will pass the same transaction ID to process to system. Okay. Is it clear? Like whenever you're checking the logs, this particular transaction ID will be the unique one among all the three APIs. Okay. And correlation ID, see, normally if you do it or don't do it, correlation ID will be helpful for you to trace the journey of a transaction within the API. From this component to this component or this component to this component, what happened and all, you can trace the journey. Okay, but here we are following API led architecture and you wanted to trace the journey from start to end. Otherwise, checking logs is a nightmare. Okay, you don't know like what happened. Okay, for which transaction you are checking, it would be very, very difficult. See, something wrong happened in system API. Okay, you don't have the proper details. How do you check it exactly? Okay, for that reason, it is always a good practice to maintain a transaction ID and always make it mandatory. If already they made it optional, if you are part of the experience API, you have to create a unique transaction ID there and then pass it to process API. And the developer who is handling a process API, it is his responsibility to send the same transaction ID to system API. Is this clear? Because you are not the only developer who will be developing the three APIs, right? Okay, you may be developing one API, okay, and the other developer also need to check it. Now, as part of our integration testing, we can check this also. Got it? Is that clear? Any questions?
Yeah, so the transaction ID travels across all the APIs like system API, process API, and experience. Whereas coming
You
to
need to
correlation ID,
pass it
yeah,
explicitly. You need to pass it explicitly.
yeah, I understood. But whereas coming to correlation ID, it will just for that particular logical flow. Am I correct?
Oh, sorry, actually, I went automatically on mute actually. Okay, see, I'll repeat once again. See, the granularity of the transaction ID and the granularity of the correlation ID is different. Exactly. What is the granularity? At what level it is working exactly. For example, the transaction ID, you are receiving it from the front end system, and then it is getting to experience API, experience to process, process to system. For example, correlation ID. Okay, correlation ID, if whether you do it or don't do it, exactly what happens, you can trace the journey of transaction within the API. Okay, within the API. Okay, not from the front system, right? Exactly. Okay, now chalo, what I have done, I have sent that correlation ID to the process API also. I have created one correlation ID, and then I have seen the journey of that particular correlation ID in my experience API, and while passing it passing to process API, passing the request to process API, I'm sending correlation ID also. Now again, from process, the same correlation ID you are going to send it to system API also. See, now with the correlation ID which you generated in experience API, you will be trace the journey, right? The same way, but it is for a different purpose exactly. Okay, why? Normally there will be a confusion, transaction ID, correlation ID. Because of that reason, always people try to follow a transaction ID, and again you are receiving it from the front end also. And the front end also, yes, you'll be in the part of your journey, right? Is part of your journey, right? Exactly. He can track it, right? But correlation ID only inside your API network. Is that clear? Is that clear? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Can okay, okay, fine. Is that clear or still have question? This is also very important exactly. Okay, now next, channel. See why I'm telling channel. I'm receiving the I can receive the transaction from web or mobile. I just wanted to see that exactly. Because of that reason, I want to do. And mandatory means if you are not passing that as part of your header, you'll get a bad request. Okay, right? Mandatory. Why? Yes. Type. What is the data type? String. For example, like for channel, if I send a number, what happens? Error. API tutor will raise the error saying that you have specified string and you are getting number. Okay, fine. Now language, maybe we are specifying for this particular transaction what is the type of language utilized exactly, maybe English or whatever it is exactly. Okay, fine. This is also one thing. And market, which market, from India or from USA or whatever, you can specify that. And I have seen client ID and client secret. What is that exactly? What are these headers? Okay, for as part of our security, we are trying to specify client ID and client secret also should be passed. I told you, right? Authorization also will be a part of your headers only, right there. Already it is part of your headers. Okay, and you need to pass client ID and client secret. See, what is our API? Which API? System API, right? For system API, see which policy I am applying. See, if you see client ID and client secret, which policy can I apply generally? Basic authentication or client ID enforcement. These two are available exactly. Okay. For now, what we'll try to do, we'll apply client ID enforcement. What is that? Client ID enforcement policy. Which policy? Client ID enforcement. Okay. What is this client ID enforcement? And there will be a question in the interview also. What is the difference between basic authentication and client ID enforcement? Okay, normally. Okay, there are different policies, right? And why I am following this client ID enforcement? Because it is a system API. It is not the end API. End API means experience API. Experience API should be protected more security, because it is exposed to the public. Because if you observe our API, it can be accessed from mobile or web application. Now you are exposed it to internet, right? Okay, if it is exposed to internet, the security should be more, right? For that reason, for Experience API, the policies will be different. Okay, now you received the request to Experience API, and the communication is happening inside the network of the organization, right? Experience to process, process to system. Because of that reason, if you have less security also, that's fine, but you need to want, you need security, but you are having less security. Okay, for that reason we are following client ID enforcement, or basic authentication is also okay. But we are going to use client ID enforcement. Okay, how many of you know like what is the difference between basic authentication and client ID enforcement, or what is client ID
So
enforcement?
client ID enforcement. In our AnyPoint platform, in the organization or BU, wherever we are developing the API specification, there will be a client ID and client secret will be generated automatically. So those details will be used in our headers as a
Okay,
security.
then what
Coming
is
to
basic authentication then?
basic authentication, we will just define the username and the user password in the policy itself, and those details will be used in our basic authentication.
Same only, right? Here also you are giving one ID. You are calling either client ID and client secret. There you are calling username and password. Both are same only, right? See,
Yeah, but
there is one ID, one secret. Here you are calling client ID, client secret. There you are calling username, password. What is the difference? There also you have one string, two strings. Here also you have two strings. But there should be some difference, right? Okay, chal. I'll explain. See, now you have one API. See, whatever it is. For example, like we have our API. I have four consumers. Okay, what are four consumers? My API is being utilized by four different consumers. Exactly. Okay. Now, if it is, if my system, for example, in the coming to our example, our system API is there. If our system API is consumed by different consumers within our organization, one from business team, one from finance team, one from marketing team, one from some other department, for example. Okay, and it is a very big organization. This is one case. The other case is the same API is exposed to outside world, and four people or four different organizations are using this API. So there is a possibility, right? You got it right? There is a possibility. See, within the organization itself, some other departments are using, or within the organization, outside of the organization, some other people are, or some other consumers are using your API. These are the two scenarios. But example, I took four. There may be sometimes more also. Okay, fine. Now, if I use basic authentication, what happens is I create one username and password. It is similar to client ID, client secret kind of thing only. Okay, what is that? Username and password. Okay, the same username password to C1, C2. You got it? Only one username, one password is shared to all the four clients. Whether there is a possibility for breach, actually, if some other person took it, he can easily do it. Okay, but I don't want to do that exactly. Like I wanted to enforce a client ID enforcement policy. What I will try to do, for each and every client or consumer, I'll create a new ID and new secret. Now I have four. Now another fifth person comes in. I'll give the, for basic authentication, if fifth user comes also, same only. Okay, fifth user came in. Same only. What is this? Basic auth. Okay, in client ID enforcement. Now see here, for client 1, I'm generating one client ID and client secret. Okay, C1 ID, C1 secret. For client 2, C2 ID, secret. C3 ID, C3 secret. This is little more secure than this, right? Okay, got the difference? 5 came in, you will not give C4's CID and C secret to him. Another client ID and client secret will be generated, and then you'll be giving that client ID and client secret. You wanted to restrict the people who wanted to use it, right? If someone kept some random client ID and client secret, whether it will be accepted? No. Okay, or in basic auth also, they put random username and password, whether they'll be able to access your API? No. But here the possibility is you are giving the same username and password. If there are some people who wanted to misuse it, they can easily misuse it. Exactly. Okay, fine. Here now C4 ID, C5, C4 secret, and C5 ID, C5 secret. Okay, this is the difference. Okay, most of the times when it comes to policies, okay, immediately you'll tell I have worked on basic authentication and client ID enforcement. As soon as you say this, the next question will be, what is the difference between them? What is basic auth? What is client ID enforcement? Okay, is that clear? Now, because it is our system API, for that reason, and it is for internal purpose, I can go for basic auth or client ID enforcement. See, if you require, you can apply OAuth policy also. There are certain organizations, no. For internal communication also, we'll follow OAuth. There is no hard and fast rule for that. Okay, but here, as part of our journey, what we are trying to do, we are trying to keep it most probably this one, client ID enforcement and basic auth. Or now we'll follow client ID enforcement. You can go through basic auth also, because our only one process API is consuming it and we're not externalizing it exactly. Okay, is that clear? Any questions on it?
Mahesh, there is anything that policy we can restrict particular ports, particular domain kind of thing?
Yes, yeah. You have a policy for IP whitelisting actually. Yeah, you can restrict.
Okay.
Is that clear? There is a policy
Yeah.
for IP whitelisting. Yeah, you can explore in the Mulesoft documentation, but we are not going to do that. As part of our journey, we are not going to. See, because that is a rare requirement generally. Till now, I haven't applied IP whitelisting in what to say in my total Mulesoft journey also. Okay. See, here the motto is to see the most of the requirements. Because of that reason, obviously, these OAuth, basic auth, client ID enforcement, rate limiting, maybe these are the policies which we'll be working on. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
Okay.
Okay. What is the policy we are following? Client ID enforcement. Okay. Now, headers part is clear. Okay. Now, shall I go to query params? See why I'm slowly discussing. If system API is over, I'll skip for process and experience API. Okay, faster. Query params, there are no query params. Already we know, right, when to pick up query params. Whenever you wanted to filter, sort and paginate, then you will pick up query parameters. Now there is no provision for that. That is the reason they haven't designed that way. And URI parameters, whenever you wanted to pick up any unique instance of a resource, then you will go for URI parameter. Now in this particular request, URI parameters are not available. Whether our API will not work, if you don't define, it will work. Okay, it's not like they are mandatory. For that reason, I wantedly say if I don't write it, they will in the actual documentation they will not write query parameters none and URI parameters none. They will not mention. But for our convenience, I wrote it here. Query parameters are not available and URI parameters are not available. Okay, that's clear, right? Okay. Now, and I wanted next part is body. how body should look like. Okay. For most of the REST APIs, JSON is the communication exactly. Okay, what is the content type? I mentioned content type is application JSON. Okay, now we wanted to show the request body also, right? I'll yeah, fine. See, field name is there, field rule is there, description, mandatory, and type. Okay, field name, what is that? Member ID and transaction ID, amount, member tier, transaction date. What are these fields? See, it is very, very important as a developer to understand the request, response, error response and all. At least sometimes there are 100 fields in your request. At least it is very, very important to understand the main fields. Sometimes it is not required for you to understand all the 100 fields. Okay, here how many we have? Only 6 in the 6 or 5 in the body. Okay, for that reason, now at least if you are if you are very clear about it, what is this member ID, what is this transaction? See, what is this member ID? For that particular member, unique ID. See, you can do the transaction, I can do the transaction, you can do that. Maybe credit card number can be member ID also there, for example. Okay, transaction ID, for that particular transaction, headers transaction ID is different, this transaction ID is different. And here for our easy and convenience, we are using the terminology very, very understandable. In real time, it will not be that case. They will give some different names exactly. But you should know for that particular, okay, card number or some unique number, this is the field name. That way you need to correlate and understand. Okay, for easy understanding, we have done this. Now, what is the amount? How much amount you are spending? Okay, and if you observe here, there is one field called field rule. I'll explain that in a while. Description, what is that? Member ID, some alphanumeric kind of thing. For transaction ID also alphanumeric, and whether it is mandatory or not mandatory. It is mandatory means it should be available, otherwise it will be throwing a bad request. And what is the type? String. For our amount, integer. See, it can be string also. If it is string, what happens? It will be in double quotes. That's it. Number will be there, but it will be in double quotes. Okay, but I have clearly specified it should be an integer. If the front end person or from the I think system API, right, process API sends it in string, what happens? It will throw bad request, because in RAML itself we told like no, it should be number. Okay, for that reason we should be very, very clear about the data types also while defining the API specification. Now, transaction date in JSON, date format or date data type is not available. Everyone knows this, right? Always date will be in string format only. Okay. for that reason we are maintaining string. Now there is a other field called member tier. What is this member tier? And I am maintaining it as enum. What is this enum? Whenever you wanted to restrict certain number of values, apart from those values, it will not accept anything. I wanted to, like, whenever you go to a website and you see the drop down, right, while filling up some form, if you can you give some other values there? Only you have to pick them up, existing values. The same way, the consumer should pass the T1, T2, T3, T4. That's it. One of those values. If he sends other than those values, it will be throwing bad request. At that point of time, we'll use enum while defining the API specification. Okay, got it? Right. Now the request body is also completed. Sorry, field rule is there, right? We didn't discuss field rule. What is this field rule? Now I'll go back, and the number is 1111. Okay, I'll go back here. Some value, okay, TID, okay, some value, amount, okay, amount, some value, okay, this is number, right? Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Now 100 or something. Okay, some 1 2 3 XYZ. Okay, fine. This is okay. I'll take only 3. I'll not take the entire thing exactly. Fine. Now in this object, what is the level of this particular field or property? It is at the first level. This is at the first level. This is at the first level. That's why we have given the number as field rule as 1. For example, I'm not taking the same example. I'll randomly tell it here. For example, I have some field here ABC. Here it is object. It has what is the field level of X? 2. Because ABC is 1. X is 2. Why? 2, 2. It is in the second level. Okay, it is in the second level. Okay, based on that levels, you can form the request, right? If you don't, if the architect hasn't given you the request or the response structure there, can you form that based on the field rules? You can form, right? You know, 1, 1, 1, 2, somewhere he mentioned it. Now I got 1, 1, 1, 1 exactly here. This is a plain object. That's it. There is a plain object. Can I form? See, I don't have request here. Can I form the request? Request example is not there, but I can form it, right? You got it? That is the reason that field rule is mentioned there. Normally example also will be provided, but still. Is that clear? Field rule is clear, right? Any questions? Okay, fine. Now I'll go to response. What is the response? Again, it should be in the JSON format, and then it should be in this format exactly. Okay, can you see the field rule? Okay, see message, mandatory, code, maybe status code, success, whether it is successful or not. Okay, mandatory. See, sometimes you can have optional fields also here. Here we have mentioned everything mandatory. It's not always it will be mandatory. Okay, don't. We'll put some optional fields also. We'll see. Okay, and event ID. This is a unique ID for each and every transaction. Exactly, it can be transaction ID also. Okay, now data. Whatever the response you wanted to actually send, that is in data. This is member ID. The member ID we received in the request, right? We're sending the same member ID. And status, whether it is successful or failed. See, already success is there. Why? What is the requirement for status exactly? Maybe we'll see while developing exactly. Okay. Sometimes that is things we need to validate whenever we are checking exactly. Okay, fine. Now the response is clear. Okay, in data we are sending the actual response. These are all the headers exactly. Okay, see what is the difference between headers and data? Headers and body. In a HTTP request, what is the difference between headers and body? See, the main part of the transaction, the data which consists of the main part of the transaction is known as body. Okay, the data which will be useful for processing. For example, like in the HTTP request, you are getting some body request, right? In request, member ID, transaction ID, amount, all these are required to process the transaction and insert in SFDC, right? But headers, most of the time, it will be metadata. What is metadata? Data of the body. What type of request it is? JSON. Okay, transaction ID. For this particular request, this is the transaction ID. Okay, data of data is known as metadata. Okay, data of the body is known as headers. You got it? Data of the body, headers. See, for this particular request, this is the client ID, client secret. Whether they are useful as an important body of the message, no, right? They are telling for this particular request, this is the content type, this is the header, or this is the authorization, client ID, client secret, like that. It is specifying the details of the request. Actual body or the actual request is inside the HTTP body. Okay, please understand this. This is also very, very important. Okay, headers will consist the metadata of your body. Okay, got it, right? See, whenever it is a critical part of your body, you should see there is a here and there, sometimes they maintain some part in header also, but whenever you are designing a system, always follow this exactly. Okay, what important information should be available in the body part? Is that clear? Okay, fine. And what is the status code? 201. Why exactly? We are creating a transaction and it is a post, right? For that reason 201. If it is get 200, okay, to get the details. See, there are some organizations, they will not use 201, 200 only. Whether it is wrong, no problem, you can send it exactly 200 created, but it is advisable to use 201 created. If you see in my previous organization, for everything successful response, whether it is created, updated, or whatever it is, 200 is the status quo. Whether that is wrong, no, it's fine. Okay, but as a best practice, it is always good to maintain 201 for created. See here, field rule 1111 and 2. Okay, here for data it is object. Can you see that? Data type is object. Success boolean. Boolean means true or false. True will be in strings or without strings? Without strings. True, false should be without strings. If you give string, it will be a string, it will not be boolean. See, if I write this, sometimes people say that actually, for example, like success, right? This is the success, this is the key. Okay, now for value, some people will do true. This will be a string, not boolean. What is boolean? True. Okay, is that clear? Understanding the basic differences exactly, right? Next, and here if you see 1 1 1 1 2 2 1, this is object. Is the response clear? Response example is there. Okay, fine. Now where do you want to update your or create your transaction? In Salesforce system, right? Now see, what is Salesforce exactly? Salesforce is again a system where it will help you to store the data. Finally, any system or anything, see, it is a CRM tool, honestly speaking, customer relationship management tool. See, in simple words, what is that customer relationship management tool? See, whenever you start your, for example, there is a big organization. Okay, they are selling cars. They're selling cars. Okay, they are selling cars. Now what they will try to do, they'll start some marketing, they'll get some leads. Okay, they will call to those leads, and some will visit the showroom, and then some will purchase, some will not purchase. All this journey is there, right? Customer relationship management. Now as soon as they start marketing, they got the leads. Okay, they wanted to store in some system, and they wanted to capture the entire journey of this particular lead till the service. That can be achievable with the help of CRM tools. Exactly, customer relationship management. See, it is a software, it is facilitated for the customer journey from start to lead to till service. And Salesforce has created the system very nicely, and it is very popular among all the CRM tools. Exactly, it is one of the market leaders, and no other CRM systems near to that particular. And even Mulesoft is owned by Salesforce. I think everyone knows it. Exactly, Mulesoft has been acquired for almost 45,000 crores in INR revenue in 2018 or 19. Okay, fine. Now see, I told you in Salesforce they will not normally in database, what we call, when you want to store some data, table, right? You store data in a table, but in Salesforce they don't call it as a table, they call it as a object. Same, you are storing data in object, that's it. Okay, and what is the object name? They have created transaction object. Okay. Now, what is the field name? See, here we don't we can call column or field name, I think. Okay. Member ID, transaction ID, amount, member type, transaction. See, is this, if you see our request and here both are same only, right? Normally it will not be the case. And Salesforce will have at least, so maybe around 50 to 60 fields, columns or fields or columns exactly. But we need to send only certain fields to them. We need to map. But here for our easy understanding and all, what we have done, our request is also having member ID, here also member ID. It is easily mapping. This is known as mapping document. You are mapping the external system details to your system API, right? Okay, you got it. See, Salesforce object will have so many fields. Well, we are creating the fields and all, we'll see there. There also they'll have mandatory, optional. For example, if while sending the request to Salesforce, your one mandatory field is there, you are not passing that parameter. What happens? It will throw error. Okay, that also you need to check it out, whether for this particular object, which is mandatory, which is optional, and you need to pass all the fields exactly. But here, for our easy and convenience, what we are trying to do, member ID and our name also member ID only. Normally in the real time, it will be some XID or something like that, YID or AID, JID, like that. And that's the reason it is always a best practice to maintain a mapping document. For this field, this is the property, or this field, this is the mapping. That way you need to define. Here it's very clear. Salesforce member ID of that particular object is mapped to our member ID, right? So already we are receiving the same details, right, as part of our request to system API. Yes or no? Fine. Now same way all are mapped. And here if you see, for example, like in Salesforce, for amount it is string, and but for your system API it is number. It is your responsibility to change that number to string and then send it to Salesforce system. You understood this? Okay, that is why your transformations, all these are required. Okay, got it? Okay, fine. Next. Now till success response we have done. We are missing error response, right? Okay, we'll see the error response and then we'll go to process API and system API. We'll finish off in very maybe another 15 minutes, process API and experience API also. See, developer job is very easy, honestly speaking. How already everything is in front of you, right? If you know control C, control V properly, it is very easy. Okay, and we can show off our things in front of our spouses or brothers or sisters, whatever exactly. We have done a super work exactly. Okay, if you know proper control C and control V, it's more than enough. Okay, fine. Now already document is provided to you. Already they have told this is the request. Are you framing the request and all? Right? No, right? Everything is provided and given to you. Then what is the problem? Just copy it, validate it, and if there is something, correct it and then do it. That's it. Okay, fine. Now, see here we have, they will not give the entire error responses and all exactly. Okay, they want, see what happens is for every organization, what they will try to do, they will structure the error response in one format. Okay, now for example, like for our convenience or for our project, exactly how we design, this is the way we wanted the error response, and we have defined the error response structure also, and it is given example. See, if you observe here the message, code, whether it is success or fail, boolean exactly, event id, why we are sending the transaction id or the unique id to error also. Whenever there is an error, he has given the screenshot of that error, for example response. At least by seeing that itself we know the id and easily track, right? If you don't send also, that is nothing wrong exactly, but it will be again he has to check the code and give it back. At least if you see the response and if he gives that response also, already the unique id is available, and in our system we can go, maybe logging system or logs we can search with the transaction id or the unique id and we can find the logs and where it went wrong exactly. Okay, see, you should it is your job to make the entire tracking or the logging or searching the logs very easier. Okay, as part of the entire journey, that particular part will be taken care by the architect, but as a developer, it is our responsibility to know that exactly. Okay, now you know that particular point, and if you add that to your team, you will be a valuable resource, right? Got it right? That's why we always should know the best practices. There are certain organizations which are not followed. For example, they're not following this transaction ID one. Now, if you can suggest this, can we do this? And if architect liked it, say architect will be knowing it, for example, but they're not following. You can go and suggest, like, if you follow that, it would be easier for logging, right? Then okay, till that point of time, he's already occupied and he's not able to accommodate that exactly change. Now at least he will accommodate that particular change, right? Okay, and you also have given some suggestion. Obviously, he feels that he's a valuable resource. See, such kind of suggestions always should be available, and you should be part of the discussions exactly. Okay, fine. Now, see here, field rule 111122. Message 1, error object, and again field rule type, title and details 2, right? Is that clear? And we are sending type means bad request, title means invalid request. See, the names can be different, okay, here and there, but you, as soon as you see it, right, you understand it, right? It is an error response, right? Got it or not? Fine. Now, is that clear? The same way it will be for 400, 500, or whatever the thing is. You need to map it correctly. You need to map it correctly. See, just copy paste means don't directly copy and paste. You should parameterize it, right? Okay, the same response structure is for all the responses, whether it is 500, 503, 502, whatever it is exactly. But still, you need to, what you should do, you should do parameterize it. Parameterize means here this 400 should be vars dot some status code, for example. Now, whatever isn't available in the status code, that will be accommodated to this particular one. That is the meaning of parameterization, or making it dynamic exactly. Sometimes we'll hard code, right? We should not hard code. We should make it dynamic. Okay. Now error response is clear, right? It will be 401 unauthorized. Unauthorized means if you pass the wrong client ID. Client, see, our part is our system API is having secured by client ID enforcement. Now they pass the wrong client ID. Now what is the error? 401 unauthorized. Basic authentication. If they pass the wrong password, 401 unauthorized means you are unauthorized to use our API because you provided some wrong things. That is the reason. Okay, that way you have different 404 resource not found. Okay, 500 series. Okay, these are the different type of errors, but the structure will be same only. If you observe, the error response structure is same, only the values will be different. Okay, that is one good part. Okay, fine. Now shall I go to process API? If there are any questions, we'll take up, otherwise we'll go to process API. Here also same. See, don't again confuse their resource and here resource same only. Okay, it may vary, but here for our convenience, copy paste easy, right? That is the reason I made it same only, and this particular resource is being utilized only for that particular activity. That is the reason I kept it as members transactions only. Okay, it can vary also based on the requirement in the project. Now, what is the objective of this? Same, right? Method is post only, but because experience API is not creating the transaction, right? It is just passing through. Post, whether cross API is sending, just passing the request to system API. It is not creating, but the ultimate aim is to create only, right? Okay, who is creating the transaction? System API is creating the transaction in Salesforce, but still the objective is same, creating the transaction. For that reason, obviously we are maintaining post method only. Okay, is that clear? Now here also same, transaction ID, headers and all, client ID and client secret. It is an internal communication only, because of that reason client ID and client secret, client ID enforcement. Okay, body will be same almost, because it is serving the same purpose. Okay, response structure also same. Okay, see, response structure error response will be of same structure. Same structure means not error response and success response. Success response structure for all the successes will be same. Error response structure for different kind of errors will be same. These two will not be same. Maybe little bit different exactly. Again, don't get confused. Now experience API. Okay, same here also. Method, headers. Okay. Only thing is policy. I told you right in the first itself. What did I tell you? See, our experience API is being exposed to outside world now, or it is the, just give me a second. Just give me a second. Help share. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, now see, I told you experience API is exposed to the outside world, right? Or most of the consumers, it is not for the internal purpose, it is for the external purpose. For that reason, I wanted to secure it with more policies exactly. Okay, what are the policies I have applied? If you observe, JWT token, okay, JWT token, and I am applying client ID enforcement also. Both, see, sometimes only JWT is more than enough. Okay, depends. But here we wanted to just see the some extra policies and all. We are trying to apply both, and we wanted to apply more security. Okay, that is the reason client ID and client secret, client ID enforcement, and JWT token policy. Okay. JWT policy and client ID enforcement. See, JWT policy and all, what is that and all, we'll see. It will take little time. Okay. That's the reason I'm not discussing at this point of time. Okay. But we are securing it with more policies, as well as JWT is more secure than client ID enforcement. Okay. Right. And we are following the combination. Now extra security will be there. Again, request body will be same. JSON and all. What is the content type and all. Again, response. Is that clear? Any questions? Now we have
So
seen.
JWT token, is it something R 2.0 policy?
Yeah. It's related to OAuth only. We'll be discussing that. Okay, because even OAuth is also very, very important in terms of the real time. As soon as you tell them, I have worked on basic auth and client ID enforcement, immediate question is, did you work on OAuth? Then we should say, I haven't worked exactly. Okay, because of that reason, even we'll discuss OAuth policy also. And then it will take little bit of time. If I start explaining, it will take again more time. That is the reason I'm not doing it right now. Whenever we are applying the policy, right? See, if you observe our classes, what are we doing? Whenever a new concept is coming in, immediately we're discussing the real-time requirement there, right? Exactly. That way, we'll try to, at that point of time, whenever we are applying the this JWT policy, we'll explain that JWT related thing, and then we'll try to apply the policy. Okay. Yeah. Nothing exactly. What are you doing? See, to simplify, I'll tell one uh, simple word. Exactly. What happens is, okay. See, in client ID enforcement, for every client, do you have a client ID and client secret, right? The same way, apart from client ID and client secret, for every transaction, I'll ask to generate a token with the help of client ID and client secret. Okay. For every transaction, I'm trying to see. It depends. Sometimes for some period, for 1 hour, I'll use the same token. With the help of this client ID and client secret, generate a token and send that token also in the request. And I receive the request as an experience API. What I will try to do, I will try to validate that token, whether whatever token he has sent is proper or not. I'll validate the token. If it is proper, I'll validate this client ID, client secret, as well as the token. If it is valid, then only I'll pass the request to the processing. Simple. Extra token is there. Means every time you're passing a new token, right? More security than client ID enforcement. See, basic auth is the least. Client ID enforcement, more than client ID enforcement, JWT token. They are calling it a JWT token there. Okay. And JWT token plus client ID and client enforcement, more security, right? Okay. That is what. Is that clear? Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. If there are any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, you can wind up the session. Okay then. Yeah. Please.
Sir, I just tried that error handling, because I was the one who asked yesterday that vice versa question.
Okay. Mhm.
So what I did is in the main flow, I give the error type as on error continue, and in child
Yeah.
flow
Please
I
tell the
give it as
response.
on error.
What is the response? What is the response?
What happened actually is so when the flow has been reached to the child flow, and I just gave a select DB connector with an error in there, the connectivity error. So the error reached out to get on error propagate one, and then it re-navigated to the main flow, and from there the flow reference to on error continue, and it reached to the listener.
Whether the flow, the components after flow reference worked?
No.
No. Okay. That is the thing. Only one case I explained. The rest things you have to do it. That's it. Already the offline people have done it, and then they have told exactly like in the first itself exactly. Okay. See, error handling, you people have to practice. If you ask me, I'll take around 10-15 sessions for only error handling. Okay. See, but that is not the case, and everything is not important and not required. Okay. For that reason, obviously whatever is important and required, if you understand whatever we have discussed yesterday, it is more than enough. And put up some practical exposure and experience. Just try the POCs whatever we have discussed yesterday, and observe the how the message is propagating. Okay. And what is happening, when is it stopping, okay, when is it going ahead, all these you need to observe. Okay. Yeah. Chalo then. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.